welcome back to Dragon Fairy History. I'm your host, Elijah, and this is my co host,
Mary.
And today we're going to talk about a very interesting topic I came across, specifically harems or concubines in China and Japan. Um, but first, we have some fun facts for you guys. What is your fun fact?
My fun fact is I'm starting grad school next week.
Yay! Congrats,
Tomorrow.
Mary. Congrats. Are you excited?
Yeah, it's exciting.
Nervous?
Definitely. It's going to be an
interesting journey for you.
Yeah.
I wish you the best of luck. You got this. You got this.
You.
I could not. I can't do any more school right now.
It's fair.
My fun fact is my ceiling fell down.
Yay!
Yeah, it's just a big hole in my ceiling right now.
That's great.
Yeah, I live in a very old apartment. Yeah, but and some better news is that it is our 10-year anniversary of being friends. We've been friends for 10 years now.
Congratulations.
Yay. Well, congratulations to you too. Congratulations to us.
Yeah. Congratulations to us.
To us. Yes. It has been a great 10 years with you, Mary.
Agreed.
Great friendship.
10 out of
10
10.
out of 10. Yeah, sometimes a 9 out of 10. Yeah, no, I'd rate us like an 11 out of 10. It has been superior to all friendships. We have the bestest friendship.
We have the superior friendship.
Yes, we are superior of all friendships in the course of history.
Top 10 friendships.
We'd be rated number 1.
Oh, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah. So, with all that fun facts out of the way, now we can get into our topic today. So, harem, the word harem. What do we think when we think of harem? Today, harem is like a big genre in anime. You find it a lot in anime where it's like, one guy surrounded by women who he is romantically or sexually available to. That I meant the opposite, where the women are available to him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I was like, ooh, I started this sentence wrong. And then there's reverse harem, which is one woman surrounded by men who are into her, and she's into them. And as I was looking more into this is like a whole ass genre. Like if you look at there's like Japanese, Korean dramas about this, like actual shows, movies about this, and especially like the historical dramas, because it was a huge part of the history of Eastern Asia. So I was very fascinated by this, and I did some digging. And fun fact, I know that's your thing, but I wrote down my notes that harem comes from it's like a Turkish word for like concubines and stuff, and so that like got adapted, and that's the word we use today. But yeah, it's just an introduction here. Around the world, queens and princesses had, court ladies to help them and stuff and serve them. And in medieval Europe, kings, supposed to be committed, supposed to be monogamous and committed to the queen, to produce a legitimate heir. But of course, very normalized was they would get with the ladies in waiting or the court woman or have their mistresses, And so, like, even though it was supposed to be like monogamous, it was more often like a lot of cheating and stuff. But when we go to medieval Asia, it's very polyamorous. Like there is no cheating. It's just like, oh, the king or the emperor now has many ladies available to him. To start in the Han Dynasty in China, emperors had as many as thousands of women in harems. Yes.
Holy STDs.
Yeah, just imagine.
Yeah,
But these women came from different backgrounds. They were like the poorest of the poor, or like more rich noble women. Basically, the emperors would go out across China and just collect women, who he thought were beautiful, who he thought like good compatibility, someone he could have some fun with. So, yeah, and I guess, I don't know, depending, I feel like maybe with the richer ladies, it was more of like, I don't know, oh, you look good on me, so it, they would be granted a higher position of power, because even in these harems, there was a hierarchy amongst all these women. Yeah, you can't have thousands of women on the same level. You have levels. Yeah, there's levels to these. There's levels.
There's more to it.
Yeah. And the fun thing about this is, no matter how humble a background you have, a concubine's status was determined by how favored she was. So if she somehow just flirted so hard and just completely won the emperor over, he could just promote her to like the highest concubine level. And so yeah, it's very interesting. And also, not only how favored she is, but also if she bore any of the emperor's children. Once you had children, then it's like, oh, you're higher up, because your children could be potential emperors. Especially if you had a son. If you had a son, then you're like, oh, okay, you're moving up the ranks. Unfortunately, it wasn't the same if you had a daughter, which is...
It's sad.
Yeah, pretty sad.
Women can be emperors too.
Yeah. Yeah, and the emperor still had an empress. Like, he had an official empress who, whatever children he had with her was the first in line. But at this time, child mortality was very common, and so you kind of wanted to have backups, which is what the concubines and consorts were for.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty...
Backup children.
Yeah, you gotta have the backups, just in case. Yeah, an emperor was entitled to one empress, 3 consorts, which I will explain the terminology later, 81 imperial wives, and a bunch of maids for the wives, and any healthy unmarried woman was eligible to join. So really, any woman could join. And so a consort is a recognized wife, with less privileges and power than the empress, but still has more privileges and power than regular concubines. And of course, there's imperial concubines, which have more privileges than regular concubines. It's just like a tower.
So do you know what those privileges are specifically?
I couldn't really find out specifically what the privileges were, but I think it had to do with like how often they could go out or where they could be seen in public, because concubines had to stay inside, and like they did not leave the palace, like unless I think that was one of the privileges of like leaving the palace
Wow.
with the emperor. So yeah, it's kind of messed up. It's kind of like
It
this,
is.
it's this whole big palace full of women who can't leave. It's like, but they're living the life, they're living in a
guess.
palace, and they,
They have other friends.
I mean, they are all friends with each other. Like,
Yeah.
when they have children, like they're all helping with the children.
Oh, it's like a little community.
It is. It basically is a community, and each concubine had a different role. Like, someone was in charge of making coffee, someone was in charge of cleaning the floors of this area, and because they all helped out around the palace, depending on their rank. If they were higher in rank, then they did less work, and lived in more luxury.
Mhm.
And oftentimes, most of the concubines never even met the emperor, or didn't get to sleep with him. Yeah, the higher leveled concubines would be the ones to sleep with the emperor, and the rest would just kind of help around the palace and keep it all functioning.
Unpaid labor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The life of the harems. Yeah, but do you have any questions about that so far? Any thoughts, comments?
I think I've been making my comments along the way.
Yeah. Any fun facts you'd like to share?
Yes. Did you know that in their teen years, for like the concubines, they go through a selection system?
No.
So, the selection for the imperial concubines varied depending on the ruling emperor. For instance, the Ming Dynasty required all young unmarried females from ages 13 to 16 to participate, except those who were married had physical disabilities or any deformities.
Oh yeah, we had to.
Yeah, can't have that.
No ugly woman around. No ugly woman.
Can't have that going into like the children at all. Yeah.
That's interesting. I wonder what the little test was,
I know, right?
Like what they had to do. I'm kind of 13 to 16. I'm kind of scared what they had to do.
Me too. I'm a bit concerned.
Hey, so the next thing I want to tell you, Mary, is a little story. Okay, so remember how I told you that a concubine can go up in the ranks?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have a story of that happening. In the Tang Dynasty. There was a woman named Wu Zetian, which I think is how you pronounce it. But Wu became a concubine at 13.
Wow.
Honestly, she did not like the emperor. So, but she did like the emperor's son, who was more her age.
Yeah. Wait, how old was the emperor?
I did not look at how old he was, but
much older than 13.
Yeah, emperor, if probably like middle age.
Oh.
Because if he had a son.
Oh, you're right. That is like 13.
Yeah,
he's got to be old.
He's like, yeah.
That's like creepy.
Yeah.
Getting with people the same age as your kids is crazy.
Yeah, well, they weren't all chosen to like satisfy him. Some of them were chosen for like numbers and to also help out in the palace.
That free labor.
Yeah, that free labor. And he also was thinking, when she's like older, I can, of course.
She's still the same age as his son.
Of course, there's always, the emperor who actually just wants the underage girl.
Mm-hmm,
yeah. Back then, womanhood started a bit earlier.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, it's like, oh, as soon as you can bear children, you are you are ready for marriage.
Yeah.
You're ready for child making.
Oh yeah, like marrying at 13 was much more common back then.
Yeah, definitely. Um, but yeah, she actually fell in love with the emperor's son, like genuine affair.
That's cute.
And I wish I wrote down what the son's name was, because it this storytelling is gonna get a bit confusing. But the emperor died eventually, and when he died, the son became emperor, and he
Oh.
promoted Wu, who was
Mhm.
at the time, low concubine. He promoted her to be his actual empress. And so she became the empress, but she wasn't ruling China or anything, but she greatly influenced the new emperor's decisions, because um, he like eventually got sick, and during his meetings with like military people and stuff, she would hide behind this like thin wall. I don't know how to describe it. It's like covered with paper, and it's just paper dividing them. So she would like whisper to him through the wall, and he would like listen to her. So even though she technically wasn't like, the one ruling, she was responsible for a lot of what happened during the emperor's reign.
Good for her.
Yeah, honestly, like just whatever you can do, like, and also I appreciate that relationship a lot. Like, wow, an actual genuine relationship happening? Question mark. Wow. Yeah. But then, because of her influence over the emperor, once he eventually died, she actually was allowed to rule China. And through this, she created her own dynasty.
Girl boss.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it was short lived. The dynasty only lasted as long as she lived. But still, the fact that she was able to do that was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I think the dynasty was called the Zhou dynasty. I might have fact checked that, but I think it was the Zhou dynasty that she created, and also the shortest lived dynasty in China. But yeah, she was the only one who actually was ruling China. The only woman. Is what I meant. Not the only one ruling China. But yeah, what do you think of that little story?
I think it's a great story about what women can do, even in times when like women definitely did not have as much power as men did.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely appreciated coming across that story. But now I wanted to say, talk about concubines in Japan. Obviously, it was happening in Japan too, because China and Japan were greatly influenced by each other. And Japan mostly was the same as China with their harem rules. Obviously, thing like the number of women, the number of consorts, the number of concubines varied, not just throughout region but also throughout the period. Like over time, numbers change. But a key difference between Japanese and Chinese harems are the presence of eunuchs, which are castrated males. The reason why China had eunuchs were, they wanted guards to protect the concubines, the harem, but also, oftentimes these guards would like, get with the concubines and then create an illegitimate heir. And so, in order to make sure the women only were having sex with the emperor, they made sure to like cut off the everything
Wow.
downstairs for the men.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. But in Japan, there actually weren't many eunuchs during the Heian period, at least. Instead, they just had like no. They kind of just like made sure no men like entered the area where the concubines were unless they were like related, unless it was like male family members.
Oh.
And these rules got like stricter until like all men were forbidden to enter.
Wow, I wonder how that changed from like male family members being allowed to not.
Probably some
Yeah.
incest was happening.
Alabama.
Yeah, they're like, oh, let the brothers go in, you know, they'll be fine, and then
It's like, oh.
like, oh no, oh no,
The brothers allowed now.
nope, no more. But yeah, that's basically all I have on concubines and harems in China. So I got my eye. Give me a second. What are your thoughts on this overall or general?
I think it's
thoughts?
really interesting how these concubines are run, where it was just like one man in charge, and then all these women just had to like work for the man, and maybe they could, be empress if they were good enough.
Yeah, if they satisfied the man enough.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. Definitely was a different time.
Yeah, I'm glad women have come very far from these concubines. Because I would not like to live in that time period.
Yeah. But there's also the perspective of, it was like, like the women, like these women lived in a palace. Like these women lived, like even though they had to like work for it, they still were living in luxury and had people serving them to, keeping them comfortable.
But was that other women? Was that other women? People serving them?
Yeah, other women. Like other than the concubines, there were also like maids, like or I guess only the higher up concubines had their own maids. Dressing them, serving them. Yeah.
So they like lived like queens.
Yeah, basically.
At least the higher up ones did.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes, like, a lot of times, you're thought of as lucky to join the harem. Because it's either that or you're working in the fields.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah. So, it's definitely, interesting perspective and just a different time. Definitely had its pros and cons.
I think I do have another fun fact. This will be like a final fun fact.
Okay.
So some imperial concubines lived a bitter life or were mistreated, which is quite unfortunate. So some were treated better than others, while some lived in loneliness. Consequently, jealousy was not inevitable and could even result in one's death, such as concubine Qi from the Han Dynasty. Yeah.
Interesting. Qi is like life force.
Oh, wow.
Like your energy, your aura.
Oh, there was even a period where they were forced to die with the emperor to the extent of being buried alive. That's like, not great.
You don't want to die with him? Well, too bad. You're gonna die with him.
Even if you're alive, like they could have at least killed them first before burying them.
Might as well.
Yeah.
I feel like it'd be just easier, just poison them.
Exactly. Just let them have like a nicer death. Like burying someone alive is just cruel.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was concubines.
Wow.
So thanks for watching or listening to our podcast. Let us know what else you want us to talk about. It can be person, events, topic, anything. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you like us or want to hear more of our episodes. So, yeah. Have a nice day. Bye bye.